Yuna had worked with the human for 8 months, and she still did not understand him. She stood by the large window of the trading station, watching ships come and go against the black emptiness of space. Behind her, she could feel his presence without looking. Dawn, always there, always watching, always silent. The Talari people were gifted with the ability to sense minds. They could feel emotions like heat from a fire. They could read thoughts if they chose to, though their laws strictly forbade it without permission. Yuna had followed these laws her entire life. She was proud of her discipline. But Dahan made her curious in ways that felt uncomfortable. Most beings were easy to sense. Their emotions floated around them like colored clouds. Happy, sad, angry, afraid. But Dahan was different. His mind felt like a closed door. Not empty, but controlled. Quiet in a way that seemed unnatural. She turned to look at him. He stood near the entrance of the diplomatic chamber, hands clasped behind his back. He wore the simple gray uniform of a security contractor. Nothing special, nothing impressive. His face showed no expression. His dark eyes moved slowly across the room, checking exits, counting people, measuring distances. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only made contact with other species 40 years ago. Most aliens considered them primitive. They had no telepathy like the Talari, no natural armor like the Korath, no advanced technology like the Ven. They were soft, short-lived, and unremarkable. So why had the Galactic Council assigned one to protect the Talari delegation? Yuna had asked this question many times. The answer was always the same. Humans were cheap. Humans were expendable. Humans did not complain. She walked toward him, her silver-blue robes flowing behind her. Her people were beautiful by most galactic standards. Tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like moonlight on water. Their eyes were large and dark, able to see in spectrums that other species could not. Next to her, Dahan looked plain, ordinary, forgettable. "You have been standing there for 6 hours," she said. He did not look at her. His eyes continued to scan the room. "Yes, are you not tired?" "I am fine." Yuna waited for more. Nothing came. This was how their conversations always went. She would speak. He would answer with as few words as possible. She would feel frustrated. He would continue being a wall. "The reception tonight will be crowded," she said. "Many species will attend. The Korath ambassador will be there." At the mention of the Korath, something changed in Dahan. It was small. So small that anyone else would have missed it. But Yuna was trained to notice. His shoulders moved slightly. His jaw tightened for half a second. His eyes stopped scanning and focused on a point in the distance. "I am aware," he said. "The Korath were a warrior species. They were large, powerful, and aggressive. Their empire had been expanding for centuries, swallowing smaller civilizations. They had made several offers to the Talari people. Partnership, they called it. Yuna knew the truth. The Korath wanted Talari telepaths for their military. They wanted to use her people as weapons. The Talari had refused every offer. The Korath had not been happy. "Do you expect trouble?" Yuna asked. "I always expect trouble." She almost smiled at that. Almost. "You must live a very exhausting life." For the first time, Dahan looked at her. His eyes met hers for just a moment. There was something in them, something deep and unreadable. Then he looked away. "I manage," he said. The reception that night was exactly as Yuna had predicted. The grand hall of Valora 7 Station was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Colors and shapes and sizes that would overwhelm any newcomer. But Yuna had attended hundreds of such events. She moved through the crowd with practiced grace, speaking the right words, making the right gestures, playing the endless game of diplomacy. Through it all, she was aware of Dawn. He did not stand close to her. That would be improper for a mere security contractor. Instead, he positioned himself at the edge of the room, where he could see everything. She noticed that he always chose spots near exits. She noticed that his eyes followed certain individuals more than others. She noticed that whenever she moved, he moved too. Maintaining his angle of observation, it was strange. She was not the only member of the Talari delegation. There were 5 others, including Ambassador Haniel, who was far more important than a simple translator like herself. Yet Dawn seemed focused on her specifically. Why? The Korath ambassador approached her near midnight. His name was Vorkin, and he was massive, even by Korath standards. His gray skin was covered in ritual scars. His yellow eyes looked at her with an interest that made her uncomfortable. "Translator Yuna," he said, his voice deep and rumbling. "We meet again, Ambassador Vorkin." She bowed her head slightly. "I hope you are enjoying the reception. I would enjoy it more with better company." He stepped closer. Too close. The Korath had no concept of personal space. Or perhaps they simply did not care. The Talari are such fascinating people. So gifted. So useful. Yuna kept her expression neutral. "We prefer the term talented, of course." Vorkin smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Tell me, translator, have you considered our latest proposal? A cultural exchange program. Your people would learn so much from us. The delegation has reviewed the proposal. We have concerns about the terms. Concerns can be addressed." Vorkin leaned down, his face close to hers. "Everything can be negotiated. Everything has a price. Even people." Before Yuna could respond, she felt a presence beside her. Dohan had appeared without a sound. He stood at her shoulder, his posture relaxed, but his eyes fixed on the Korath ambassador. "Excuse me," Dohan said. His voice was calm, polite, completely unthreatening. "The Ambassador Haniel is asking for translator Yuna." Vorkin looked at the human with contempt. "The adults are speaking. Go away, little creature." Dawn did not move, did not blink. The ambassador is asking for her now. For a long moment, Vorkin stared at the human. Then he laughed. It was an ugly sound. Humans, so amusing. Like pets that think they are people. He looked back at Yuna. "We will continue this conversation later, translator. Think about what I said. Everything has a price." He walked away, his heavy footsteps shaking the floor. Yuna let out a breath she did not know she was holding. She turned to Dawn. "Ambassador Haniel did not ask for me." "No," Dawn agreed. "You lied." "Yes." She studied his face, looking for some explanation, some emotion. She found nothing. "Why did you intervene?" "He was not threatening me." Dawn was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "There are many kinds of threats." Before she could ask what he meant, he stepped back into the crowd and disappeared. Within seconds, he was at the edge of the room again, watching. Always watching, Yuna stood alone in the middle of the reception, surrounded by hundreds of beings, and felt something she could not name. Not gratitude exactly, not curiosity either. Something in between. She looked across the room at the silent human who had been assigned to protect her delegation. For the first time, she wondered if there was more to him than she had assumed. For the first time, she wondered what he was really thinking behind those quiet eyes. But she would not read his mind. That was forbiddance. That was wrong. She did not know that soon she would have no choice. The Festival of Lights was the biggest celebration on Valora 7 Station. Once every cycle, beings from all species gathered in the central marketplace to honor the stars that connected their worlds. Colored lanterns floated through the air. Music played from every corner. The smell of 1,000 different foods mixed together in ways that were sometimes pleasant and sometimes terrible. Yuna walked through the crowd with two other members of her delegation. The station security had assured them that the festival was safe. Extra guards had been posted. Scanners checked every entrance. Nothing could go wrong. Dawn walked 10 steps behind her. She did not need to look to know he was there. She could feel his presence like a shadow that never left. The marketplace was beautiful. Yuna had to admit that. Lights of every color hung from cables stretched between buildings. Performers danced on floating platforms. Children of different species ran and played together, their differences forgotten in the joy of the moment. For a little while, Yuna almost forgot about politics and threats and the Korath. She stopped in a stall selling crystal flowers from her home planet. She bought one, holding it up to the light to watch it sparkle. For a little while, she was just a young woman enjoying a festival. Then the world exploded. The blast came from somewhere to her left. A wall of force and heat hit her body and threw her through the air. She heard screaming. She heard the crash of structures falling. She felt herself spinning, out of control, unable to stop. She hit the ground hard. Pain shot through her body. Her vision went white, then red, then blurry. She tried to move, but her limbs would not obey. She tried to call for help, but her voice made no sound. Smoke filled the air. People were running in all directions. More explosions echoed in the distance. Alarms screamed overhead. Yuna lay on the ground, helpless, watching the chaos around her with fading eyes. This is how I die, she thought. Alone on the floor of a foreign station, far from home. Then a body covered hers. Duhan appeared from nowhere. He threw himself over her, shielding her from falling debris with his own flesh. His arms wrapped around her head, protecting her skull. His chest pressed against her back. His heartbeat strong and fast against her spine. Another explosion. Closer this time. Yuna felt the heat of it, even through Dahan's body. She heard him grunt in pain as something struck him. But he did not move. He did not let go. And in that moment of terror and contact and complete loss of control, Yuna's mental barriers broke. She had not meant to read his mind. She had spent her entire life learning to keep her telepathy controlled. But the explosion had shattered her focus. The physical contact had created a bridge. The extreme emotions had torn down every wall she had built. She fell into his thoughts like falling into an ocean. What she expected to find was chaos, fear, confusion, pain. That was what most minds felt like in moments of crisis. A storm of random thoughts and desperate emotions. What she found instead was something else entirely. Dawan's mind was calm. Not empty, not cold, but organized in a way she had never experienced before. It was like walking into a room where everything had a place, where every thought served a purpose. She felt his pain. The debris had cut his back badly. Something might be broken. But the pain was pushed to the side, acknowledged but not allowed to interfere. She felt his calculations. Threat assessment. Ongoing attack. Multiple explosions, likely coordinated. Escape routes. 3 options. North exit blocked. East exit unclear. South exit probable. Survival probability. Difficult to determine. Her survival probability must be maximized. Her survival, not his survival. Not the delegation's survival. Her survival specifically. Yuna pushed deeper without meaning to. She could not stop herself. The connection was too strong, too sudden, too overwhelming. She saw memories. She saw Dawn in his small quarters on the station, late at night when he should have been sleeping. He was reading a medical document about Talari biology, learning which foods were safe for her species, learning which environments were comfortable, learning the signs of Talari distress that other humans might miss. She saw him 3 months ago, meeting with a shadowy figure in a dark corridor. Money changing hands. Information exchanged. A name, a Korath agent who had been assigned to get close to her. The next day, that agent was found dead in an airlock accident. She saw him 2 months ago, intercepting a package meant for the Telari delegation. Documents that had been coated with a slow-acting poison. Dohan had touched them with bare hands to test them. He had spent 4 days in the medical bay afterward, telling everyone he'd eaten bad food. She saw him 1 month ago, standing outside her quarters in the middle of the night. Not guarding the delegation. Guarding her door specifically. Every night. For hours. While everyone else slept, and beneath all these memories, she felt his constant thought. The idea that ran through everything he did, like a river running through a valley, that keep her safe. She does not need to know. She does not need to be afraid. Let her live her life. Let her be happy. Just keep her safe. Yuna pulled back. The connection broke. The world rushed back in. Sounds. Smells. Pain. Reality. Doan was lifting her now, carrying her through the smoke and chaos. His face was tight with pain, but his arms were steady. He moved through the crowd like water through rocks, finding paths where none seemed to exist. "Are you hurt?" he asked. His voice was the same as always, calm, controlled, as if he had not just shielded her with his own body from an explosion. Yuna could not answer. She stared at his face, seeing it for the first time. Really seeing it. This plain, ordinary, unremarkable human who had been fighting a secret war to keep her alive. Who had been poisoned for her. Who had killed for her. Who had given up sleep for her. And he never said a word. "Yuna." His voice was sharper now, worried. "Are you hurt? Can you hear me?" "I." She found her voice. "I'm not hurt. Good." He carried her toward the south exit, just as his tactical mind had calculated. "We need to get you to safety. The delegation quarters have better security. Can you walk?" "I think so." He set her down gently, keeping one hand on her arm to steady her. His back was bleeding. She could see it now, dark stains spreading across his gray uniform. But he did not mention it, did not acknowledge it at all. "Stay close to me," he said. "Move when I move. Stop when I stop. Do you understand?" She nodded. They moved through the damaged station, stepping over debris and around crying civilians. Emergency teams were arriving now. The fires were being controlled. The chaos was slowly turning to order. When they reached her quarters, Dohan checked every corner before letting her enter. Then he took his position outside her door, just as he always did. As if nothing had changed. As if he had not almost died for her. Yuna stood inside her room, looking at the door that separated them. She knew things now that she was not supposed to know. She had violated his mind without permission. She had seen his secrets, his sacrifices, his silent devotion. She had thought he was cold. She had thought he was empty. She had thought he was just another forgettable human doing a job for money. She had been wrong about everything. Yuna sat down on her bed and covered her face with her hands. Outside, Dohan stood guard, bleeding from wounds he would never mention, watching for threats he would never explain. And for the first time in 8 months, Yuna understood that she had never really known him at all. 3 days passed after the explosion. The station returned to normal. The damaged marketplace was repaired. The dead were mourned and forgotten. Life continued as it always did, but Yuna could not forget. She moved through her duties like a ghost. She translated documents. She attended meetings. She smiled and spoke and pretended everything was fine. But inside she was burning with questions she could not ask. She had violated Dohan's mind. She had seen things she was never meant to see. If she told him, she would have to admit her crime. Among the Telari, reading someone's mind without permission was one of the worst things a person could do. It was a betrayal of trust, a violation of the soul. So she stayed silent. And she watched. She watched Do-han differently now. Before, she had looked at him and seen nothing. Now, she looked at him and saw everything. She noticed how he tasted her food before serving it. Just a small bite, always when he thought no one was looking. Testing for poison. Willing to die first if something was wrong. She noticed the scars on his hands. Long, thin lines that she had never paid attention to before. Now she recognized them. Korath blades made cuts like that. Curved and cruel. How many times had he fought without telling anyone? She noticed his conversations with station workers. Quick words exchanged in corners. Small nods of acknowledgement. He had built a network of informants. Eyes and ears throughout Valora 7. All watching for threats to her. She noticed his exhaustion. The dark circles under his eyes that makeup could not hide. The way he leaned against walls when he thought no one was watching. He never slept enough. How could he, when he spent his nights guarding her door? Each observation was a knife in her heart. On the fourth day, she could not stand it anymore. She needed answers, real answers. Not the glimpses she had stolen from his mind. She went to the station's intelligence office. The officer in charge was a woman named Mireille. She was human, like Don, but where he was silent, she was sharp. Her eyes missed nothing. Her words cut like blades. Translator Yuna. Mireille looked up from her desk. This is unexpected. What can I do for the Talari delegation? Yuna closed the door behind her. I want to know about contractor Do-han. Mireille's expression did not change. What about him? Everything. For a long moment, Mireille was silent. She studied Yuna with those sharp eyes, measuring something that Yuna could not see. Then she stood and walked to a cabinet. She pulled out a thin folder and dropped it on the desk. His service record? Mireille said. Officially, he is a standard security contractor, grade 3, assigned to general protection of the Talari delegation. And unofficially? Mireille smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You are asking dangerous questions, translator. I need to know. Another long silence. Then Mireille sat down and folded her hands. Unofficially, Contractor Do-han is one of the best operatives I have ever worked with. He was assigned to your delegation specifically because of intelligence we received 8 months ago. Intelligence about you. Yuna felt cold. Me? The Korath do not want the Talari people generally. They want specific individuals. Telepaths with rare abilities. Your gift for deep reading makes you extremely valuable to them. They have been planning to capture you for over a year. Deep reading. The ability to see not just surface thoughts but buried memories, hidden secrets, things that people did not even know about themselves. It was rare even among Talari. Yuna had always considered it a burden more than a gift. Why was I not told? She asked. Because knowing would have changed your behavior. You would have been afraid. You would have acted differently. The Korath would have noticed and adjusted their plans. Mireille shrugged. It was decided that ignorance was safer. For you and for the mission. The mission being my protection. Yes, Yuna felt anger rising in her chest. So I was kept in the dark while others risked their lives for me. While Do-han risked his life for me. He volunteered. Marie's voice was quiet now. When he learned about the threat, he asked for the assignment. He has been fighting the Korath's operations against you for 8 months. Alone, mostly. He preferred it that way. Why alone? Because more people means more risk of information leaks. And because, Mireille paused, because he did not want anyone else to get hurt. Yuna thought about what she had seen in his mind. The calculations, the constant focus on her survival, the willingness to die without recognition. How many threats has he stopped? She asked. Mira opened the folder. 7 confirmed. Probably more that we do not know about. She read from the pages. 2 assassination attempts. 1 kidnapping operation. 3 information-gathering missions. 1 poisoning. She looked up. The poisoning nearly killed him. Did you know that? I heard he was sick from bad food. That is what he told everyone. The truth is that he intercepted documents coated with Korath neurotoxin. He touched them to confirm the poison was there. He spent 4 days in critical condition. The doctors said it was a miracle he survived. Yuna closed her eyes. She had been attending meetings while he fought for his life. She had been complaining about his silence while he protected her from threats she never knew existed. Does he know? She asked. Does he know that he's probably going to die doing this? Myray did not answer. Her silence was answer enough. Yuna opened her eyes. Why does he do it? Why does any human do things like this? You are not strong like the Korath. You are not gifted like the Talari. You have no special abilities. Why do you sacrifice yourselves for strangers? Myray was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer, almost sad. Humans live short lives, she said. We know this. We feel time passing in ways that longer-lived species do not. Maybe that is why we value things differently. We know we cannot keep anything forever. So we focus on what we can do right now. What we can protect right now. What we can save right now. She looked at Yuna with something like pity. Dohan does not expect to survive this assignment. He accepted that from the beginning. But he decided that your life was worth more than his. That is not logic. That is not strategy. That is just human. Yuna stood in the intelligence office, surrounded by reports of threats and violence and sacrifice. She thought about the silent man who had been standing between her and death for 8 months. She thought about how she had dismissed him, ignored him, considered him beneath her notice. She thought about how wrong she had been. Thank you, she said to Myray, for telling me the truth. What will you do now? Yuna walked to the door. She paused with her hand on the handle. I do not know, she admitted. But I know one thing. I will not let him fight alone anymore. She left the office and walked back toward her quarters. Dohom was there, of course. Standing guard, watching, silent as always. She looked at him differently now. Not as a shadow, not as a tool, but as a person. A person who had given everything for her and asked for nothing in return. She did not know how to fix what was broken. She did not know how to make things right, but she knew she had to try. The observation deck was empty at this hour. Most beings on the station were sleeping or working. Only the stars were awake, burning in the endless darkness beyond the transparent walls. Yuna found Dohan there during his rest period. He stood alone, looking out at the universe with an expression she could not read. For a moment, she just watched him from the entrance. He looked tired, more tired than she had ever seen him. His shoulders were slightly bent. His hands hung loose at his sides. He looked like a man carrying a weight, too heavy for one person to bear. She walked toward him. Her footsteps were soft, but he heard her anyway. He always heard everything. Translator Yuna. He straightened immediately. The tiredness disappeared behind his usual mask. Is something wrong? Do you need assistance? No. She stopped beside him, looking out at the same stars he had been watching. I wanted to talk to you. Just talk. Is that allowed? He was quiet for a moment. Of course. They stood in silence. The stars burned. Ships moved in the distance like tiny lights drifting through ink. Why did you take this assignment? Yuna asked, thought it was a simple question. But she felt him tense beside her. Felt the walls go up in his mind even without reading his thoughts. I was assigned by the security division, he said. Standard contractor placement. That is not what I asked. More silence. Longer this time. Myray told me things. Yuna continued. About the threats. About the Karth. About what you have been doing these past 8 months. She turned to look at him. I know about the poison. I know about the assassins. I know about the nights you spend outside my door instead of sleeping. Dawan did not move, did not react. His face remained as blank as stone. You volunteered for this, she said. You chose to fight a war alone without telling anyone. You chose to die for someone who did not even know your name until a week ago. She felt her voice breaking. Why? For a long time, he did not answer. The silence stretched between them like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Then he spoke. When I was young, he said, my grandmother told me a story. She said that humans are special, not because of what we can do, but because of what we choose to do. We are not the strongest. We are not the smartest. We are not the most powerful. But we can choose. We can decide what matters to us. We can decide what we are willing to fight for. He turned to look at her. For the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Not emptiness, not control, but depth. A vast ocean of feeling hidden beneath a calm surface. The galaxy thinks humans are primitive, he said. Maybe we are. Our ships are slow. Our weapons are basic. Our lives are short. We have no telepathy, no natural armor, no gifts that make us special. He paused. His hands tightened into fists at his sides. But where I come from, we have something else. We have stubbornness. We have the belief that some things matter more than survival. Some people matter more than ourselves. His eyes held hers. We do not let good people die if we can stand in the way. Even if standing in the way means we fall. Yuna felt tears forming in her eyes. She did not try to stop them. But why me? She asked. I am nobody. I am just a translator. There are so many beings in this galaxy more important than me. Why would you die for someone like me? Dohan was silent for a moment. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled. It was small and sad, but it was real. I have watched you for 8 months, he said. I have seen you treat everyone with kindness. The servants, the guards, the cleaning staff that everyone else ignores. I have seen you stay late to help younger delegates. I have seen you give your food to hungry children in the marketplace. He looked back at the stars. You ask why you matter, but you do not see what I see. You do not see how bright you shine in a galaxy full of darkness. You do not see how rare kindness is, how precious. He shook his head slowly. The Karth want to use you as a weapon. They want to turn your gift into something ugly. They want to break you and reshape you into a tool of war. I have seen what they do to telepaths they capture. I have seen the emptiness in their eyes. His voice hardened. I decided that would not happen to you. Not while I could still stand. Not while I could still fight. You deserve to live your life free and whole. You deserve to be happy. And you? Yuna asked. What do you deserve? He did not answer. But she knew. She had seen it in his mind during the explosion. He did not think about what he deserved. He only thought about what he could do, what he could give, what he could sacrifice. You never told me about any of this, she said. You let me live in ignorance while you suffered alone. Why? Because you had enough weight on you already. His voice was gentle now, almost tender. Being afraid all the time is no way to live. I know. I have lived that way my whole career. The constant watching, the constant waiting, the knowledge that death could come at any moment from any direction. He looked at her again. I could carry the fear for you. That is what I am good at. Carrying fear, carrying pain, carrying weight. You should not have to feel those things. You should be free to smile, free to enjoy festivals, free to buy crystal flowers and watch them sparkle. Yuna stared at him. This ordinary, unremarkable human who had been invisible to her for so long, who had spent 8 months bleeding and fighting and dying slowly so that she could live without fear. "You saw me buy the crystal flower," she said. "I see everything you do." Not in a creepy way, not in a controlling way, but in the way a guardian watches over someone precious. In the way a protector memorizes every detail of what they have sworn to protect. Yuna reached out and took his hand. He froze. His entire body went rigid. She realized that in 8 months, she had never touched him deliberately, never acknowledged him as anything more than furniture, never treated him as human. "I am sorry," she said. "I am sorry for ignoring you. I am sorry for dismissing you. I am sorry for thinking you were nothing when you were everything." His hand was warm in hers, calloused from weapons and work, scarred from battles she would never know about. "You do not need to apologize," he said. "You did nothing wrong. I did everything wrong." She squeezed his hand. "But I want to make it right. I want to help you. I want to fight beside you instead of hiding behind you." He shook his head. "It is too dangerous. The Korath will make their move soon. The trade summit is coming. They will try to take you there. Then we will stop them together. Yuna." He said her name for the first time without her title. Just her name. It sounded different in his voice. Important. Valued. "I cannot let you put yourself at risk. That is the opposite of everything I have been trying to do." She stepped closer to him, close enough that she could see the small lines around his eyes, the gray beginning to show in his hair, the weight of years and wars and sacrifices. "You cannot protect me forever," she said. "You cannot carry everything alone. Even humans have limits. I know." His voice was barely a whisper. "But I will carry it until I break. That is what I promised myself. That is what I chose." Yuna felt something shift in her heart, something that had been closed for a long time slowly opening. "Then let me help you carry it," she said. "Let me make the same choice. Let me stand beside you instead of behind you." "Behind you?" For a long moment, Dohan did not respond. His eyes searched her face, looking for something. Permission, maybe. Or hope. Then slowly, carefully, his fingers tightened around hers. "Okay," he said. It was just one word, but it changed everything. They stood together at the observation deck, holding hands, watching the stars burn in the endless night. Two beings from different worlds, different species, different lives, united by something stronger than any of those differences. The battle was coming. The Korath would make their move. Pain and danger waited ahead, but for the first time in 8 months, neither of them would face it alone. The trade summit was 3 days away when the intelligence report came in. Yuna was in her quarters when Mireille appeared at her door, her face pale and tight with worry. Dalham stood beside her, his expression the same as always, but Yuna could see the tension in his shoulders now. She had learned to read him in ways she never had before. "They are coming," Mireille said. "The Korath have activated a strike team. 12 operatives. They will be here before the summit. Their target is you." Yuna felt fear rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. She had made a decision. She would not hide anymore. "What is the plan?" she asked. Mireille looked at Dawn. Something passed between them. A question and an answer without words. "We have 2 options," Mireille said. "The first is evacuation. We get you off the station tonight. Hide you somewhere the Korath cannot find. It is the safer choice. And the second option? We fight." Dalhan's voice was flat. "We find them before they find us. We end this." Yuna looked at him. "Which option do you recommend?" He was quiet for a moment. "Evacuation. It keeps you safest." "That is not what I asked." "Which option do you think is right?" Another pause. Longer this time. When he spoke, his voice was different, heavier. Running only delays the problem. The Korath will never stop hunting you. They are patient. They can wait years, decades, for the right moment. If we run now, you will spend your whole life looking over your shoulder. He met her eyes. If we fight now, we can end it. We can destroy their operation here and send a message that you are not prey. But it will be dangerous. People will get hurt, maybe killed. Including you, Yuna said. He did not deny it. Yuna turned to Myray. I want to fight. Myray blinked. Translator Yuna, with respect, you are not a soldier. You have no combat training. You would be a liability in a direct confrontation. I am not suggesting a direct confrontation. Yuna felt something building inside her, a strength she had never used before. I am a telepath. I can sense minds. I can find their operatives before they get anywhere near us. I can tell you exactly where they are and what they are planning. Dawn stepped forward. No, using your abilities that way is dangerous. If they sense you scanning for them, they will know we are aware. They will change their plans. Or worse, they will target you specifically. They are already targeting me specifically. Yuna, he said her name again. That single word that carried so much weight. I cannot let you put yourself in danger. That is the opposite of everything I have been trying to do. She moved toward him. They were close now. Close enough that she could see the worry in his eyes. The fear that he usually hid so well. I know what you have sacrificed for me, she said. I know what you have suffered. And I am grateful. More grateful than I can ever say. But this is my life. My choice. You taught me that. Humans choose what matters to them. They choose what they are willing to fight for. She reached up and touched his face. His skin was warm under her fingers. I choose to fight beside you, not behind you. Dawn closed his eyes. For a moment, he looked like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, trying to decide whether to jump Dodd. Then he opened his eyes and nodded. Okay, he said. But we do this together. You scan for them. I handle the physical threats. We work as a team. No unnecessary risks. No heroics. Agreed? Agreed. Myray looked between them with an expression that might have been surprise. Or maybe respect. I will coordinate with station security. We will need a tactical center. Somewhere you can work from safely. My quarters, Yuna said. It has the best shielding on the station. Dawn made sure of that. Myray nodded and left to make preparations. Yuna and Dawn were alone. There is something I need to tell you, Yuna said. The words had been building inside her for days. She could not hold them anymore. During the explosion at the festival, when you covered me with your body, I lost control of my telepathy. I read your mind. She washed his face for anger, for betrayal, for the disgust that Talari usually showed when someone confessed to unauthorized. Mind-reading. But Dawn just looked at her calmly. I know, he said. She stared at him. You knew? Your behavior changed after that night. You started looking at me differently, asking questions you had never asked before. I knew something had happened. He shrugged slightly. I guessed. And you are not angry? Why would I be angry? I have nothing to hide from you. Everything I have done, I would do again. He smiled that small, sad smile. If anything, I am relieved. Now you know the truth. Now you know why I am here. Yuna felt tears threatening again. I thought you would hate me. I could never hate you. His voice was soft. I have spent 8 months watching over you, protecting you, learning everything about you. He paused. In my own way, I know you better than anyone. It seems fair that you know me too. She laughed. It was a wet, broken sound. But it was real. "We are quite a pair," she said. The telepath who read someone's mind by accident, and the human who was happy to let her. "The galaxy is strange," he agreed. "But sometimes strange things work." The next 2 days were the most intense of Yuna's life. She spent hours in meditation, expanding her telepathic awareness across the station, searching for minds that did not belong. Thoughts that carried the cold purpose of hunters thought she found them. 12 operatives, scattered throughout Valora 7, disguised as merchants, technicians, travelers. Each one carrying weapons hidden in clever places. Each one waiting for the signal to strike. She reported their locations to Dawn. He passed the information to Myray. Station security moved quietly, carefully, like a net drawing closed around unsuspecting fish. On the night before the summit, they struck. Yuna watched through her telepathy as Dohan led a team through the station's lower levels. She felt his mind moving, calm and focused, as he engaged the first operative. The fight was quick and brutal. Dohan moved like water around stone, flowing and unstoppable. She guided him, warned him of ambush, told him when enemies were waiting around corners. Her gift, which she had always considered a burden, became a weapon. Not for destruction, for protection. One by one, the operatives fell dead by morning. All 12 were captured or dead. The Korath strike team was destroyed. The threat to Yuna was over. She found Doan in the medical bay. He had taken wounds during the fighting. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to require treatment. He sat on a bed while a doctor cleaned cuts on his arms and face. "You did well," he said when she entered. "Your guidance saved lives tonight, including mine. We did it together." She sat beside him. "Like you promised." He looked at her. In his eyes, she saw something new. Not just a protector watching over his charge, but a partner, an equal. "The station commander wants to speak with us," he said. "Apparently, we are heroes now. They want to give us commendations. Do you want a commendation?" He laughed. It was the first time she had heard him truly laugh. The sound was warm and bright, like sunlight breaking through clouds. "No," he said. "I want to continue my current assignment, if that is acceptable to you." Yuna smiled. "It is very acceptable." The commendation ceremony was brief. Station Commander Jisoo gave speeches about bravery and cooperation between species. She offered Dohan any reward he wanted. He looked at Yuna before answering. "I would like to continue protecting the Talari delegation," he said. "If they will have me." Jisoo looked confused. Of all the rewards she had expected him to request, this was not one of them. But she nodded. "Very well. Your request is granted." That night, Yuna and Dawn stood together on the observation deck. The same place where they had first truly talked. The same stars burned in the darkness beyond. When everything was different now, Yuna reached out and took his hand. Through the contact, she opened a gentle telepathic channel. Not intrusive, not forceful, just a soft bridge between their minds. She sent him a single thought. "Thank you. You are not alone anymore." She felt his surprise, his warmth, his gratitude. And beneath it all, she felt something else. Something that had been growing for 8 months. Something that had no name yet, but was beautiful and strong and true. He squeezed her hand and sent back his own thought. Simple but powerful. Neither are you. They stood together, watching the stars burn in the endless night. 2 souls from different worlds, joined by sacrifice and trust and something deeper than either of them fully understood. The galaxy was vast and cold, and full of dangers,